from the soundstage here at Wellington High School in the digital media classroom. Welcome, we are back after the pandemic. The Patricia Lindley Center for the Performing Arts and the Wellington Music Store presents Dialogue with the Dukes, a program dedicated to the people, places, and events going on here at Wellington High School. Arguably in the fall, we have two events that take place that have the attention of the entire village as well as the entire school district. That being the Lorain County Fair and football. And I think you would find an argument within the village and the school district, what is number one, football or the Lorain County Fair? We're very fortunate this morning to have Coach Rob Howells. He's in his fourth year coaching the football team. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
And we also have Cayden Sherepita, senior on the football team, playing both sides of the ball. And then after our commercial break, we will bring in Ty Moore, who is also a senior this year. So first of all, Coach, it is your fourth season. You started out with a very, very few players, and now we're ending up with 51 players. How is the team and your coaching philosophy different?
I would say the team's different just because of the number of guys, and that would go the same with the coaching philosophy. It hasn't changed. You know, it's a team first attitude and atmosphere. We have to work hard to get what we get every day, and you know, it's credit to those teammates and players that have been with me my entire time here to recruit the halls and get their buddies out and have some excitement around Wellington Dukes football to get these numbers where they're at.
Very good. Cayden Sherepita is one of the 14 seniors on the squad this year, and if I read my depth chart right, you're defensive tackle on the defensive side of the ball. You're the offensive guard on, I believe, on the left side of the line. Is that correct?
Both sides.
Both sides? Okay, depends. And also you're the punter. First of all, which position do you like best? And of those three positions, how do you feel each one is important to the team? Is there one more than the other?
I don't really have a favorite position. I like playing them all, but if I had to seriously pick one, it'd probably be D-line.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all contribute to the success of the team because offensive line is the main reason we score. And then the D-line is the main reason they don't score.
They don't score, right.
And then punting is just as important as offense, getting up other people, the other team, bad field position, so our defense can dominate.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Cayden's punting here in a little bit. Coach, we talked about in an earlier interview for GLW Broadband, we talked about the fact that the first four games are all home games. And we talked about how it could be a double-edged sword, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. You wanted, as I remember, to say you wanted to go in 3-1. We're not 3-1, we're 2-2. So does that change things at all for you and the team?
I don't think it changes anything for our team. We still have, you know, only one conference game down, so we still have our whole conference slate and goals ahead of us. You know, unfortunately, we had some things that they will talk about later with mental errors and penalties that kind of cost us, you know, one if not two games. So things could be a lot differently. So we just got to learn and grow from that and come together as a team.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that we've gone 2-2 so far, not like last year, we were 3-6. So we're only one win away from what we did during the pandemic year. Although I do throw out the pandemic year because it was completely different than any other football season. So what are your thoughts on the season so far?
I feel like we're doing fine as a team. Just the mental errors need to come to a halt so we can have success throughout the rest of the conference season.
Yeah. Well, what a better transition it could be than that. We've had a lot of bad penalties, and we've had bad penalties throughout the first four. Arguably, maybe Columbiana was the only one where our penalties didn't really hurt us, but the other three games they have hurt us. We look to the future. We know starting this Friday night we have that team out east, and really the rest of the Lorain County schedule, there's really no easy team that we're going to be playing. So how do we take care of these penalties? Is it a focus thing? Is it maybe not paying enough attention? What seems to be the problem, and how can we correct it?
You know, it all starts in practice, focus and discipline within practice, and requiring that of the guys, and then them even requiring it of themselves. That's where we have to start. You know, and Friday night showed. You know, the defense played a great game against a really good Farlands team, held them to 12 points, and statistically, you should be winning when you're holding a team to 12 points. So Penalties cost us there, and you know that's just got to be a focus moving on. Is cleaning it up, because you're not going to win against good teams when you're shooting yourself in the foot all the time.
Yeah, well, let's stop with all the bad stuff. Let's now talk about all the good stuff that we have remaining. Cayden, you talked about the fact that you yourself like the defensive side of the ball much better, but how has our strong offensive line really helped the team this year?
Our strong offensive line has helped a lot because they're the ones that give the extra push on this 4th and short or 3rd and 1, and we need that extra yard to get the first down and continue our drive to get the touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Coach, we started out with 51 players this year, and I believe we lost one, but we gained one. So we still have 51 players on the roster, and as I've already alluded to, we've got 14 seniors. How has that changed the way that you coach this year? Is it easier because we have so many seniors, or using them hopefully as leaders, or is it tougher?
I don't know if it's really changed the way I coach it. Unfortunately, it might be a better question for them. I know practice-wise, we're able to do more and get more people involved, and very little standing around. We're able to split up and actually have a JV session and a varsity session, where in the past we haven't been able to do that, and unfortunately, young guys kind of get forgotten about. Having the experience I have is great. Again, I have a handful of guys that have been with me since my first day on campus. Don't want to look too far ahead, but I don't know what's going to be next year when I'm in the locker room and I don't have, Ty Moore, Sean Brzee, Drew Eubanks, and a few others there for the first time ever. But that allows me as a coach to take a step back sometimes. This is their team. They've been in it for 4 years. Mm-hmm. At the end of the season, they'll have 40 games of varsity experience, and let them do the talking, let them do the expressing of what needs to happen, and hopefully being player-led like that helps us be more successful here as we get into conference play.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cayden, I always ask the seniors this question. What are your goals this year for yourself, and what are the goals for the team?
Goals for the team we kind of set at the Ashland camp, as speaking as a whole entire team, not just all seniors, but we want to win the day, 1% better every day, and win a conference title. Mm-hmm. And then personal goals, I would have to say probably I want to get first team all-out for punting this year, and see if I can double that with D-line.
Well, another good transition by this young man over here. We're going to brag on him a little bit. Through this past Friday, not including the Firelands game, this gentleman to my immediate left was the #1 punter in all of Lorain County. We're not talking our conference. We're talking of all of Lorain County. He averaged 40 yards a punt. He had a hang time average of about 4 seconds or more, which of course helps the team get down and cover the punts. And talking about covering the punts, he had in the first 3 games 3 punts down at the 3-yard line of the opponents, and of course that puts him in a hole immediately. So the fact that he is the #1 punter in Lorain County, all of Lorain County, that's got to help the team.
It's a huge help. It's a huge help to the defense. It's a huge help to momentum. Although we stall out on offense, you'd be able to pin him back. I think in those 3 games you're talking about, he had 7 punts, 5 of which were inside the 10. So not only did he have 3 inside the 5, but he also added another 2 inside the 10. Mm-hmm. So to give our defense that scoring position and field battle position helps from a defensive standpoint, especially since they've been better this year, which I'm sure we'll get to talking about. And then it helps turn that field position from when our offense gets the ball back to hopefully be in a better spot to score.
Exactly. Well, when we come back after this message, we'll be switching seats with our seniors, and we'll talk more about statistics and specific players on the team this year. This is Dialogue with the Dukes.
Welcome to the Patricia Lilly Center for the Performing Arts. This wall shows how many people in the community supported the performing arts. This is where all actors will perform at. In the audience, you can enjoy anything performed here. This is the spotlight. There is 2 up in the control booth. This is the light board, and this is the soundboard. The control booth is where you will learn about technical theater, to make friends, and to have fun. The Performing Arts Center is where you will make your dream come true.
We are back. Remember, if you or someone within your group or the club that you might be in has something that you would like to present to the entire village, consider renting the Patricia Lindley Center for the Performing Arts. And for all of you musicians out there, if you have any music needs, go to the Wellington Music Store located at 117, 119 West Herrick here in downtown Wellington. Well, during the first part of this dialogue with the Dukes, we talked a little bit about the team this year, the things going on, what was changed, the experience that we have. Now we want to talk a little bit more about statistics of the team this year and specific seniors on the team. Also realizing, as I'm sure you would correct me on, Coach, is that it takes a team. It's not the individuals, but it takes the team. So first of all, Coach, here are the stat leaders, and I've got to get my glasses out here because I'll never be able to read it. As of last Friday, before the Firelands game, we had Ty Moore as 4th in scoring, and we had Caleb Taylor as 5th in scoring. As far as rushing was concerned, Caleb Taylor was number 6 in the entire Lorain County. As far as passing was concerned, Ty Moore was number 5 in passing in the entire Lorain County. We already talked about Cayden Sherepita, number 1 in punting by far within Lorain County. And now, tackling, first of all, Drew Unext. And during one of the GLW broadcasts of the team, I mentioned that Drew, he's an absolute monster on defense. And he, by far, has got the most tackles in the entire Lorain County. When I say tackles, that's total tackles plus assists and all of the other things like tackling for a loss, sacks, and everything else. He is by far number 1. Number 9 is Nate Packfield. I would say maybe a little bit of a surprise this year, not only on defense, but also on offense this year. Number 11 is Devin Diedrich, Jace's brother. He is number 11, and John Brzee is number 14 in tackling. So all of those particular integral parts of the team, but as I said, they are all part of the team, and even though they're individuals, they are certainly helping the team. So with those stats, how does it change the way the shall we say the team goes into a game against a certain opponent?
I don't know if the stats didn't necessarily change what we do. Again, I think you go back to earlier discussions about maybe changing the way I coach and having more guys. And as you said, Nathan Packfield's been a surprise offensively and defensively, and he wasn't a starter to start the year. And he's found his way into that role, and he helps give Caleb Taylor breathers on offense, and he starts defensively. And to be able to use that depth and have multiple guys, tops in the area is huge for us. So I guess it just gives us a little more faith in using that depth and trying to have fresh legs throughout the game.
Well, speaking about Nate, we basically have 3 running backs now. We've got Drew in as fullback, and he surprised that, Columbiana, I believe, with his first run from scrimmage, 35 yards. And Nate Packfield, I believe, last week was number 2 in rushing. So, yeah, he's done a really good job. Ty, as I said, you're 4th in scoring and 5th in passing. You're the quarterback. It was a bit of a competition at the beginning of the year between you and CJ, but unfortunately CJ got hurt. You became the quarterback. From the offensive side of the ball, and I can't remember, free safety or strong safety on defense? Strong safety, okay. Now, again, kind of the same thing I asked Cayden. Your favorite position is a quarterback or strong safety for you and for the team?
I'm going to say I couldn't pick one. They're both equal. I've been starting strong safety. First snap of varsity football freshman year. Quarterback freshman year, I was still back up. I was still taking reps and snaps. So, I've always had that kind of behind me to use it if we needed it. But
did it surprise you? Granted, CJ got hurt. CJ Poland, sorry, I want to make sure we mentioned his name. Did it surprise you, however, that all of a sudden you were the number 1 guy?
No, it didn't surprise me. Either me or CJ, someone's going to do the role. And if not, I could be used somewhere else. So.
Well, absolutely. Well, Coach, you talked to me again in an earlier interview about the study that was done with the 20-point threshold. Talk a little bit about that, the fact that we gave up 28 points last year and how that kind of played into last year's games versus this year's games. Talk about first the study.
We kind of look back at all the games that we've done as my time here, and we noticed that when we score more than 20 more often than not, we win, and when we give up less than 20, almost 100% of the time we win. Now it hasn't always been the case. There's a couple outlier games here and there, But that was kind of the 20-point threshold, and we had a huge goal of getting that defense better this year. We gave up 28 points per game last year. So again, it's not winning football.
Mm. Well, so far on the average, just through the first 4 games, we've given up 19 points. Maybe that's the reason for the 2-2 record?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with it. And again, I already said earlier, our defense put us in a position to win, and we had that 3-1 goal that we had coming out. But you know, a huge step to it. I have to give credit to my brother. You know, that's been the biggest change on that side of the ball this year. Is he's come over and take reins of that defense and have really gotten it moving.
Well, I'm glad you brought up your brother. Talk about the coaches this year.
My brother Coach Howells runs the defense, D-line, wide receiver, calling the defense. Matt Kimmick is our special teams coordinator, helps with the JVs, running backs, and DBs. And then Dylan Lowry helps with the O-line, D-line, and also goes with the JV guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say the quarterback runs the team, runs the offense. That's great. But on defense, it's extremely important. And for you at safety, what has changed from your first year to this year, your senior year, on defense?
I wouldn't say too much. I'm still a strong safety. I mean, we're still playing the same coverages, and we all got the same goal, doing your own job, defense side of the ball.
You would maybe hope that you don't make very many tackles, don't you? You don't want to have to be the last guy between you and John Brzee, between the free safety and strong safety, as you know, to get the tackling in on the offensive person running down the field.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't depend. Usually I'm up there on the list for tackling, but I mean, this year we're playing a lot of deeper coverage, so some less tackles.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, we've talked about the fact that sometimes things don't go good. We already talked about, I said we weren't going to talk about bad things, but well, maybe a little bit. You have a story that you told the team at the beginning of the year this year, and people up in the stands may have seen a shovel that is actually in the dirt right behind the bench. Tell us the story about the shovel.
I'll try to do the shortest version I can, but it's about a farmer with an old mule who finds his mule in a dried up well, and does everything in his power to get it out and can't. So goes to bury the mule, and then notices that the mule is starting to slowly climb out, because every time a clump of dirt hits its back, it shakes it off and steps up. So that's kind of what that signifies. We passed it around amongst the team on the first day. It was brought up. We wrote down some adversities that we faced during the game and what we need to shake off and respond to, and have the right response for the outcome desired. So we did that, and then that's what that shovel signifies.
We already talked about the fact that we have had some mistakes, but we talked from the coach's point of view. Now I want to get not only the player's point of view, but the senior point of view. Last year we went 3-6, as we talked about, and in our second and third games we may have even won those 2 games, but we had our mistakes. So how, as a senior this year, from your point of view, how do we correct those things within the team?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the attention to details that will influence those games. You don't have the mess ups, and it's going to show on the scoreboard. If everyone does their job, then you'll connect and get a W.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Well, Coach, we already talked about the fact that you have 14 seniors starting this year. We have 4 players: John Brzee, Drew Unanks, Jace Diedrich, and I'm missing one. Who am I missing?
Cayden.
Oh, Cayden Sherepita, of course. Idiot. The fact that you've had such good people this year, and you kind of already alluded to it, the fact that next year's locker room is going to look completely different. So this year, now going from a 2-2, running through an awfully hard Lorraine County 8 schedule, what can we do with those 4 guys as well as all of the other 10 seniors?
Yeah, we just have to rely on them and lean on them. Again, we have 5 All-Ohio guys returning, which you just rattled off. 4 of those, we have another 5 guys that have been 2-way starters since they were freshmen. So they've been through the grind of the schedule and tough competition. So we just have to rely on that experience and hope that helps push us through.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, Ty, the same question I asked Cayden. What are your goals for yourself and the team this year?
Team goals, we set out in Ashland. Do your job as your 111th, and we won a conference title. And then individual goals, have fun. Live it up. It's the last last 10
This is
games.
the last year, yeah, high school wise.
Yep, and just execute.
Mhm.
Play good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Coach, I asked this question of you, the last question for today, but it was the fourth question, I believe, in our little interview earlier this year, and that is, I predict this year Wellington High School will be,
in the playoffs.
and I think we can end it right there. We do hope to see you in the playoffs. So for Coach Rob Howells, for Cayden Sherepita, and also for Ty Moore, we thank them for coming in this morning and sharing their thoughts about the football team this year and whether they are maybe number 1 or number 2 in the village as far as excitement versus the fair and football. We'll be back again soon. This has been Dialogue with the Dukes.